Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Ben and Ed. Let's select an episode. So, I've slept since the last episode that we recorded. That probably will be a major factor in just how long I can put up with something like this. Alright, so now that the whole screen is twisted. Now, is the floor twisted or... Is the floor twisted or am I twisted? Is the camera twisted? The difference here being like well, my head, and I didn't even really get a figure there. Let's see. Yeah, my head does curve to the right. Alright. So you have to just kind of run. What just happened there? I jumped and then I blind landed on... Oh, I didn't need to jump at all. I needed to just keep running. And then as these retract, so they are trying to introduce these as new challenges after we did the big boss fight, which is fine. There's a concern here, certainly, with just how much geez, can I just walk through this? Walk around it? Yeah. Just how much of this game centered around running through and collecting those cans, and I'm slightly concerned here. What we're seeing here really are just visual effects, nice little experiments that you would see an indie developer on their first project do, but not things that I think you specifically have any reason to be super happy with as far as a game player. Like there's not video game elements here. Also, it's kind of surprising that it's getting brighter and not as I walk around. Yeah, just so there's 19 of these, and they do seem like they are just gonna be in different places. And again, wow. I think if you were running this game and it was lagging, which I could see it not being very particularly well programmed, you would have a very different experience compared to say someone like me who's not running into that problem. How do you get in there? Like, I can't throw my head up high enough to reach that. I guess that's how you get in there. Wow. You can definitely also feel that there's kind of just a glitch going on here, as sometimes there's ways to glitch yourself into the system. So let's see if we can actually make it all the way to the end. Yeah, the difficulty definitely has been reduced after the boss fight. This is good game design to have have the player take a break. Yeah. I guess you would have come down this way and run back this way. And they even made it nice on you so you don't have to jump over those platforms. Then they want you to run this way. And this is where they're gonna mess you up because you're gonna have to move fairly fast to get to that. We still don't know why we're collecting the... Like, we still have no idea why we're collecting the zombie body things. Yeah, this is kind of just a straightforward jump. If you can get it just right. What the reset sections here need to tell you, though, is not that they wanted you to have a full body or a head. They need to tell you what they want you to have in the next section. That would be the part that would matter. And falling on top of a axe seems to have killed me permanently. And here we run into the problem of this game becoming all too familiar with its challenges, and these platforms are now getting particularly small, as if they expected a head to only be the thing that was left after a certain point. So I'm doing possibly better than what I should have done. But then you get back to this checkpoint and it shows that actually no, they did appreciate and expect that some players might have been able to make it all the way to the end. This is one of those rare times, I think, also where collectibles are negatively adding extra gameplay, because plenty of people are just going to be happy to have made it through an area. It then becomes increasingly frustrating for players if they have to go back and get all the collectibles. See, are we doing a bonus level or are we doing the next level? I think we skipped the bonus level, come to think of it. And it looks like we're at the end, so it doesn't... I don't even think... Where am I? I think the game just literally glitched. Like, I think we might be way back at the beginning of the game, because we've got these push things and I don't know where I am. Yeah, we're way back at the beginning of the game. I don't know how we got way at the beginning of the game, but we somehow did it. And then The trick here is to just chase and then let something not hit you. And they really do want to just screw you up really bad before you can get to an area. And then you have this weird situation where it's not really penalizing or helpful to lose a body part. If anything, it's not until specific body parts are lost do you then at some point have some benefit. But even then, the benefits and the penalties seem fairly low. Like, it does kind of seem like we could, if we can get this right, it seems like we can possibly get the head to roll off and make it, let's see. Chase after this. After that moves, run over here. Run this way. Adjust your vision. Ideally, I just would want a shortcut. A checkpoint here. More checkpoints would definitely make this game more enjoyable. But you don't really have a good sound effect. Like I'm hearing the balls roll in the background, yes. But I'm not getting a good confirmation. And if anything, I'm just becoming an expert on, oh, well, I've lost all of my body, I can't go any further, versus I've lost a leg, I can go further. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. I think you need your full body or you're gonna throw your head. Like, and it's gonna have to be a choice at that point, because you're just not gonna be able to make that final jump any other way. So I don't know if you really would define this as a full implementation, or this is the ultimate challenge to what we were learning to do previously. Yeah, this is just not gonna work. Like, you can get in this gutter even, but I would have to have such a high speed that you just can't get to make the jump. And you're running by default, so it's not like there's a newer system. Yeah, you're just not going to be able to do it. Well, wait a minute. I think the game might have gone a little easy on me. It didn't spawn in, I think, one of the axes at the very beginning there. Interesting. So maybe this game does have some system. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And jump. And yet we still missed 3 cans of whatever, cans of brains, cans of corn. We found no chickens whatsoever. And it is just increasingly questionable how we are going to have enough cans of corn to open the next level. It seems either you have to get every single collectible, or it's actually impossible. Which that would suck. Alright, so this looks like a Minecraft dropper map, if you're familiar with that idea. And there are some mobile games where I've played where it's like this, where yeah, you fall down and you have a level of fun trying to see how far you can fall down a section with either not killing the character or killing the character. I've kind of seen it both ways, but yeah, I think that is probably as much as you could do. So this is just gonna shoot cannonballs at me. This definitely does feel like a bonus level in the sense that it's different. Although honestly, maybe they don't need to be bonus levels. Maybe there just needs to be some more variety. I'd also say that the cannonballs need to probably decide to disappear on the first bounce and break up, not potentially hit a wall and bounce backwards, because that's fairly unfair. Yeah, this really does seem more antagonistic than some of the other levels, or at least directly antagonistic. You definitely get the feeling that the developer of this game wanted you to be able to like speedrun these, and yet there's oddly no scoreboard system. I've not seen any timing, not any score, no counter for the number of times you reset, nothing that you would kind of expect for something like that. So I don't fully think you're going to convince a speedrunning community to appear if all you have to offer is a game that you would have to externally run a timer on to confirm whether or not how long it took you to beat a level. Like, all of that really should be just integrated into the system by default. Alright. Lots and lots of blades. That is the danger with this game, is that you will very possibly just end up running into a section that's just more frustrating than it should be. And so we may have felt slightly successful in beating that first area, and now we may just get our butt handed to ourselves over and over again. And some of this is just moving way too fast, and it's just way too easy to fall off the edges. I honestly feel like you have a scenario here that's where half the world could be just on a flat plane with walls that you would bounce back from. You don't need to constantly be able to fall off the edge falling off the edge in games is not an enjoyable experience by any means. Let's see. Let's just see how far we could toss our head. Not very far. It would be kind of nice if he unlocked some ability that let him do a long toss. Alright. It can't be too far away, but we also really would need a checkpoint right about now. And it kind of doesn't matter which way you go. And you can't detach your head if you're missing both arms, which feels like an odd little additional challenge to have to go through. Like, honestly, you're not gonna get... There's... Am I supposed to run this way and then jump? Like, it seems very impossible to even make it through this first couple sections consistently. And once you get hit, that's pretty much it for you. And it'd be nice if they get through your bone and didn't have these lower blades. And it does kind of feel like things maybe slow down a little bit after the first dozen times you die. But I would need the game to help us. And see, it would be nice if there was a map. Yeah. The more I play this, you can definitely feel that a bunch of this could be majorly improved with little bits of help here and there. A map to tell us how far we are, even if it's just a very rudimentary map that says even just a distance meter, so that you know whether you should rage quit or whether you're safe to continue going forward. Yeah, all these little things that you would see in other games are missing in this. Trying to make this a frustration game, and when you make a frustration game, you're really only then appealing to try to get it played by the likes of Markiplier and other YouTubers. And that's just not a business model. It really isn't. Because all it does is convince a small percentage of fans of YouTubers to buy the game and then play it for 5 minutes and then never play it again. And that may get you that initial sale, but it doesn't establish a business relationship that is positive. So it's no surprise that this game developer has just made one sequel to this game and then absolutely nothing else has come out as far as their Steam listings show. Man, just I wish you could set your own checkpoints. That would fix this. Just let me set a checkpoint and let me revert to a checkpoint if I set a really bad checkpoint. Is it dodge? Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong. Maybe I just forgot about the dodge button. Alright, dodge stops working though as soon as your legs are missing. So while there may be something to the idea of using the dodge when you can, there's really nothing to it as soon as you lose dodge as an ability. And here we just got the music playing over and over again. And it's gonna start getting annoying just because the game is annoying. And I don't want to rage quit here. But I don't know what else to do. I think we're gonna have to hit that point. Like, there's no invincibility mode option. There's no you messed up too often option popping up. There's nothing that says we've noticed you're having difficulty, so we're gonna throw you a bone. We're gonna make this easier on you, or we're gonna pop up a tutorial or something. And undoubtedly, you can tell that I just want to get through this, so I'm not playing particularly safe either. And that is the cycle of frustration that happens in games, is that once you start dying, it's just this horrible cycle that goes on, and you're just on tilt, to use a poker term, and you just won't ever get out from under it. Certainly this happens to me when I'm streaming Magic the Gathering Arena on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. There's just a huge amount of that kind of feeling. And back when I was playing Hearthstone instead of Magic Arena, I certainly ran into a lot of that also. Let's see. Could I maybe make it through here? That got me far enough to hit a can. And I think that's probably the point where we're just gonna have to... Let's see. Well, then here's the problem. We've already checked. You can't go back to checkpoints, even if you have a full body set already. Alright, there's a roll button, which is just a dodge button. So dodge is right bump and X button on the controller. So, okay. But then they put the blades right in the way so that it absolutely doesn't hit you. So it absolutely does hit you. So if I rage quit this, I'm done. Like, I can't reasonably come back and just do this section. So you run into this weird situation where really your only option at that point would be... What's that sound effect that's playing? Somebody's shooting balls at me now. All of a sudden, cannons are shooting things at me. Is it gonna put some kind of ridiculous timer saying you've taken too long? Thus, we're gonna not let you finish the level? That would be insane. These things need to probably not be able to hurt you more than once. In most games, if an enemy hurts you, there's at the very least a little bit of a cooldown before they can shoot you again. You usually aren't stun locked, so that a blade spins around and cuts you, and then before you can even move, you are hit again. Or the game gives you some level of invincibility frames. But no, not here. It's just a big old FU, and I'm getting more aggressive with it, but that's really where this is going, is that it does feel like the game is just saying, giving me the middle finger instead of trying to be helpful. Like, we've only gotten good enough to make it through the first 2 blades. And then by the time we're at the 3rd blade, it just wrecks us. And even if you get really lucky and the physics glitch out, you're just not going to be able to make it all the way to the end. You have to have a full body, almost certainly, to make some kind of jump at the end. We're just not getting anywhere close to it. Like, let's see. Where are we now? Let's see if maybe there's some kind of cheat down here in the bonus area. Or maybe we could get close enough to the final area that it would decide that we had succeeded. See, this looks like the final area. Yeah. You run into this problem. Here, I'm gonna infinitely fall. Where they make these platforms really small so that you can't just walk around the characters. There might be a good system in a game like this where the walls and the floors did just expand by a percentage every time you died. That way you have at some point the ability to just kind of do this and then walk all the way around. And sure, it would be slow, but that's where you would put in the obvious timer element, and the penalty would just be it would take you more time. Here we have the real world timer element of this. Alright, and the screen is completely back. Okay, well, I can't respawn. The game has glitched. Let's go to the main menu. It didn't save any of that at all. And yeah, I don't have a real desire to try to do that ever again. Yeah. Almost certainly this is a game that if I was a person who had no access to other games, which is not my case. I have freaking hundreds, if not thousands of games on Steam that I haven't played or haven't played in a while. I'm spoiled for choice in that case. But if this was the only game I had and I'd spent actual money on it and I wasn't just going to get a refund, I think most people still would be wiser to play this for an hour, see if it's frustrating them even a little bit, and if it is, probably getting a refund, because you're just not going to get a sustained form of entertainment here. This is a prime example of a game that suffers under the refund system, and somewhat rightfully so, because they've failed to make a game that appeals. Let's just throw this. Am I supposed to throw my head over it? Am I supposed to just kind of jump around like that? There is some air braking that definitely seems possible. And doing that bonus level doesn't really make me feel like I've warmed up now and I'm gonna just be better. It just makes me feel like I kind of wasted my time. Let's see. And go. And no. So you gotta kind of jump around, avoid getting hit if you can. Come over here. Yeah, and if you were gonna make this be a kind of side mission in just a standard first-person shooter or some other game that is just like much more familiar style of game, something with better, tighter controls, something that is way more forgiving, you probably in that case would still only want to take the first couple of levels that were fairly easy and not these later levels that are just going to get extremely more difficult. Like I could see in something like Alice Madness Returns a sequence like this. There probably was something not too different from this in Alice Madness Returns. Man. But when you think about, say, some of the crazy levels in Mario Maker 2, I'm sure there's plenty of people that have made levels that would play a lot like this, being incredibly difficult and complicated. But that definitely wouldn't be what I would want to play in Mario Maker. If anything, I probably would only really want to play Mario Maker for a brief amount of time anyways. Just like I definitely can see the benefit of playing a curated Nintendo experience. So am I supposed to wait till his mouth opens completely? Or what? This seems to me like the plan is to drop down fairly slowly, but it doesn't seem like there's actually anything around here. Then I guess the question is, does the checkpoint check? You get instant checkpoints as soon as you hit those things, the cans. I guess there might be a lot of things that are in backwards locations, and that would explain me not finding a lot of them. You probably could have gotten a better experience had you tried to break this up some more. Had you, instead of having about 20 levels, instead you broke it up into 5 different segments. Get rid of the checkpoints and make those individual levels, or keep the checkpoints and then let you at least load and save your progress every time you've hit a checkpoint. Because the current system makes these levels too long. It makes it too easy to bone it up once and not recover from that. See, I don't know if I'm supposed to throw my head over in that general direction. Probably not. That was the guess. Go. Nope. Still didn't work. Even though this is a third-person perspective game, it is still kind of hard to tell whether something's gonna hit you or not. I'd say Ed is a little bit tall and lengthy as a character, and that makes it a little weird. So what I want to do is jump there, and then jump there, and then hope I'm not going to get hit, and then run this way, hope I'm not going to get hit, then run this way, and it definitely feels like there was a whole nother path over that direction. There's still no cans or anything on these edges, so it does seem like you're just wasting your time going down this direction. And it seems like the game is kind of wasting your time to make you have to wait and see his mouth open. Is there anything to hit or collect back here? No. And then we're running on metal rafters. I will have to say I was wrong at this point. I really couldn't call this an asset flip game, even though Ed the Zombie may be a Unity asset, and all of these grotesque images and the balls and the axes may be asset flips. In fact, everything here might be a purchased asset visually, and even maybe code-wise, a lot of it might be purchased assets. But I can't really say that they just flipped it, as it were, because that's not really what happened here. Somebody tried fairly hard to program this and make this be a real game. I don't think they particularly succeeded as well as they should have. I think you have here an example of what would have been maybe worth mentioning as a student project, but not really worth selling and playing. Is you just run into playability as an issue, and how desirable is it really to keep going at this and playing it over and over again. And yeah, I personally am not a fan of frustration games, and this is definitely going that route more than I'd like it to. Like, it definitely does seem to want to drive you crazy. With situations where you just die over and over again. I don't think I'm really afraid of clowns or anything, so I don't think this aesthetic really means anything to me. Like, this is a cool idea that the whole world has twisted somewhat. That's an interesting idea, but I don't think it really means anything else, though. It's cool to see it. But how does it really improve the game to add dropper sections? I guess it improves the game slightly because now you're not just running into things that'll slice your limbs off, and you instead are trying for some easier sections, as long as you kind of just take your time. But even when you are doing Minecraft dropper maps, you're usually not dropping down back and forth to this level where it's actually rather repetitive. And honestly, it feels to me like the game might be helping you a little bit. And I got stuck at that point, so I couldn't go any further. Let's just see. There's apparently some terminal velocity in this that you can't work around. So So yeah, there's no cheating this. You are gonna have to do it the slow way. And if you have to do it the slow way, that means any little mistake you make then gets amplified quite a bit more. And that's not particularly fun. They have to now slow down in a game that has been nothing but encouraging you to speed up. It's inconsistent, to say the least. Right. And so then the question becomes, do you want to jump up here and then hit this and then jump down there? Still an opportunity to fail miserably. So you get through that slower section, and now we have a slow moving platform with a pretty large blade on it. Down below I see a slow moving section. Alright, so let's hit that body there. So could I just jump down here? Yeah. So you can just kind of avoid all of that. And there's probably not too much of a problem with just making it all the way to the end. There's no ladders or ways to climb up. However, so if I can't actually reach over there, then I guess I'm boned at that point. And yeah, I must have missed something somewhere. Let's see if we can just throw ourselves over here. Yeah. These are getting incredibly more difficult, and we would need to be able to collect, well, 16 plus another 20. So 36 more cans. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this, but I think we kind of are at the point where we don't want to go any further. And this is the music that sounds like the Moonlight Sonata and sounds like a performance that apparently they didn't clear with YouTube Content ID, which doesn't mean it is actually copyrightable. It just means that somebody was allowed to claim they own the copyright on YouTube, which is shockingly easy and horribly abused. But then you also do have the problem. Apparently this is just a laser that's going to shoot you regardless. So you just have to run forward. Like, as I understand the copyright laws, that you are still somehow allowed to copyright performances of public domain songs. I don't know let's just stay in the light. I think that's probably the solution here. Let's follow the light. And not actually leave the light, which means we may very well just have to avoid several things. Now once you're at a checkpoint, you have to, even at the checkpoint though, it resets the light, but only for a brief second. I believe the happy birthday case may have finally resolved that. There was someone who for a very long time tried to claim that they owned the copyright to the happy birthday song, and finally the courts said no, you don't own the happy birthday song just because your performance of it from 40 years ago, that a lot of the people that claim they own it don't actually own it. They bought the rights to it, and well, legally they might actually own it, but they shouldn't actually own it because they didn't actually create the song in any way. They just bought the rights from the original creator, who often is long since dead. Darn it. So you just have to know where these blades are. Like, that's exactly where this goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you just don't get the count right on blades that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will just ruin you. I don't remember what the core understanding or ruling around the happy birthday song case was, though. That I think the general idea was derivative works can't extend copyright forever, even though that's exactly what people like Disney would love to have happen. And that is in part why you're seeing these live action remakes of Disney classic animated movies. It's not because all of a sudden Disney thinks that they are good at making they're good at making live action movies, and that kids and their target audience wants to see live action movies instead of cartoons. It's just that they realize that they can't really make money anymore selling the same animated movies from the 70s. And at a certain level, they still can make plenty of money. They just can't make as much as they want, or they can't make infinite money for infinite amounts of time, which is what they were trying to convince the politicians to vote for, is the idea that it could be 70 years plus after the death of the actual original creator. The deeper problem with copyright in the United States is it's just not realistic for a modern society. It made sense 200 years ago, and that's about it. And it has long since been changed to favor non-creative actors who have bought the rights to copyrighted products instead of actually written or created anything at all. Real creators, artists, are not really getting benefited much from the copyright system. And this is just going to have me jump all around and make me turn the camera around in different angles. And this is going to be... this just doesn't move slow enough for you to really know where you're going. and it's just not big enough of a spotlight. I would also say, as far as this music and basically having something that sounds like Moonlight Sonata, and it frankly sounds like it's a note for note performance of Moonlight Sonata, it's not a good choice. Honestly, it's just not something that improves the game in any way to have this music, compared to, say, using a public domain copyright free song from Kevin MacLeod, or better yet, having the music that's actually licensed. I could see the idea of this trying to be calming music, considering at this point I think most people would be fairly frustrated with the game, but I don't think calming music is gonna fix the problem with this game, which is that the actual game itself, the actual gameplay, is frustrating. It's irritating. It's not what most players, or at least not the kind of games I like to play. Like I definitely am not looking to video games saying to myself, boy, do I wish they were more frustrating. I don't think that most people, after coming home from a long day of work or school, are going to say to themselves, boy, do I want to be frustrated. Shoot. And since we haven't been this far, no surprise that we don't know where we're going. So, yeah. And I'm just taking like a brief moment to reset myself. And it seems like it's going to get more deadly and intentionally put me in danger. And yeah, I'm going to have to dodge and then maybe dodge again. And then adjust the camera, and every time I adjust the camera, then I have to know that I've adjusted the camera so that I know the right timing. And I can't crouch down because that slows me down too much. And the timing seems to be not reset. I guess I should probably just roll. By reset, I mean I don't think that the spinning blades are always in the same place every time you respawn. But far too often you run into these scenarios also where it is impossible. It is literally just an instant kill, whether you recognize it or not, as soon as you take any damage. And the blood on the ground's not really adding anything other than, like Mario Maker, it's showing you everywhere you've died. It's not even particularly clear about that, because if you've died multiple times in the same place, the pile of blood on the ground is just going to be the same. It's just going to be a larger pool of blood. Yeah, see how that one spun back and hit me a second time? But a lot of times it doesn't. And then that one spins back and hits you again. Yeah, this is going to be a very soft rage quit. Like, as most of my rage quits are. Like, I don't really just get upset and throw a controller at a screen or anything. But the frustration is there. I recognize it, and I think, arguably a little bit more mentally healthy because I realize, you know what, this is just not something I'm enjoying, and I want to quit. That's what's gonna happen here. Is we're almost certainly, I would say 95% certain at least, that we'll finish this level. It won't give us enough of a it won't give us enough cans to unlock the second boss. And this is what the person who gifted me this game said, is that they had made it to the second nightmare boss. Yeah, I don't think I'm even gonna make it that far, because I don't think I'll have quite enough cans, and I have no desire whatsoever to go back and try this. This really was one of those games where it had some relevancy, and would have liked to seen it go forward. Man, after doing all of that, boy, would have been nice to have a checkpoint or a time rewind system. Like, this is a game that had I purchased it for myself, I would have probably only spotlighted for 30 minutes instead of playing it for 2 hours and really giving it more time than it's really worth. And again, I'm just not one of those YouTubers that is just gonna play up for the camera and pretend like they're super frustrated and try to attract 9-year-olds watching YouTube by being hyper energetic and unrealistic, which a lot of the unfortunately successful YouTubers are. That they do totally put on a facade and act hyper energetic, and they're all like, hey, what's up guys, we're here with some more Ben and Ed, we're gonna beat it today, I swear we're gonna beat it today. I've done some yoga, I'm all ready to go, but in reality they couldn't care less if they beat the game, or if they even realistically depict the game or criticize the game, because they're just there to act as a personality to get the same people to keep on watching and to string them along. It's basically a scam. And inevitably, what the fans of those kinds of YouTubers will realize is that they very rarely actually beat a game. They'll come back and say, yeah, I'm just tired of that, I'll come back to it later, and then they just never come back to it, or they come back to it as soon as their views start to drop a little bit. But they're not really playing games the way real people would play games. Man, if this laser just had some build up to it, if you had like a beep 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 situation where you had 5 seconds in which you could be outside of the light, that would be helpful. And it doesn't even really make sense why you would be lasered when you're outside of the light. Like, if somebody has a sniper laser at you, being in the light would be the part that you would be in danger. So you're in this like weird reverse stealth sequence where you are, instead of trying to hide, you're trying to be fully lit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man. And even if you get good at one section, still totally possible to never get far enough to get good at the next section. That's why each one of these should probably be a bespoke checkpointed system. 2, maybe 3 challenges make sense. But that's pretty much it. I just missed some cans and I couldn't really care less. Oh man, and we almost have made it to a checkpoint. We haven't even made it to the end of this level. So it was slightly acceptable that I wouldn't be able to do the bonus section. It's fairly completely unacceptable that I would be incapable of doing this. Seems like the laser gun has decided to be a little bit more generous too. Come on. Well, we didn't make it all the way to where we wanted, but we didn't make it unharmed, but whatever. This section would have to be fairly quick. And it does feel like this is just going to be like the previous section, which means it'll be fairly annoying. Previous section where we were having to figure out where the box was going and getting lasered over and over again. And this whole laser idea only starts to make sense if it's trying to be a setup to show you that the next boss you deal with is going to have some kind of laser gun. So 21 of 27. How many did we need? We needed 120. So what's with this game? Is 120 just a bonus level? Is that how this goes? And then 200 is just another bonus level that happens to take place in some kind of chronological order? Then why could I never figure out how to get through the two that were in that area? We've gotten all the cans in some areas. And I think we may have even gotten all the golds in some areas. The only thing we haven't done is gotten all the gold checkpoints and all the cans. Cut, laser, cut. Let's see what this is. Runner, laser drone. I guess maybe those things were the laser gun was maybe trying to teach you that lasers exist? As if you couldn't figure out that lasers exist? Well, apparently they shut off very slowly, but eventually they do shut off. Let's just roll. Nope, rolling won't work. Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get why you would put an artificial slowdown element by making the player wait. This one seems to move in a slightly different pattern. Seems to kind of stop in the middle and then go back to the left. Of course, it would really suck to mess this up. What can we see? We just see more lasers. Oops. Just does seem like it's going to be more lasers and more lasers. Yeah. I'm not seeing a boss fight here. I thought I would maybe see a boss fight. And, well, we saw the first boss. I don't expect that there's going to be too much different. I can kind of see how the laser system here does seem to kind of allow you to chop off limbs, hands, without the entirety of your run being ruined. That's kind of interesting. It's more subtle and more realistic. So do we want to go this way, or do we want to go that way? Let's see. I feel like I could make this jump, but apparently not. The head removing concept, I think, is still something that's being underplayed here as a time saver, instead of running all the way over there. And honestly, it feels like there should be some can pile way back in that direction, but by the looks of it, there isn't. I don't know if the game is being cruel to me, or it's just I'm not getting high enough. We know the head will work if I can get it in the right place, which is an if. Just gotta try not to go too far with it. Alright, the door's open. Is the door open permanently now? Yes. But where are we? Seems like we might be worth our while to go through this, but we're done with this game, really. Like, I'm fine with rage quitting here. There's just that risk that the next level is the boss, and then there's a risk that the next level after that is the boss, and then there's a risk that the next level after that is the boss. I would like to have seen what this nightmare boss was as he was being described to me, but also the person who gifted me this game told me that they were running into all kinds of lag frame rate issues, so sure, if you're running into lagging, that would have probably changed the outcome. Oh, come on. Don't let me die here. This is bull. This is bull. You have to... There. I guess none of the cans you collect matter in any way if you actually die, so that is something else to take from this whole mess. This is a great example of the game not resetting, because if it reset, all the lasers would be lined up so that you could probably run and not die without even worrying about running and dying, and only with small mistakes and delays would you start to be in a situation where you could run into lasers and have things chopped off. And the fact that the lasers give you momentum doesn't really make sense. They seem to kind of hit you and move you forward. Like, ideally, what you would be able to do is make a jump here, make a jump here, make a jump there, jump that way, jump this way. There's an arm. Did I miss a can somewhere? No. And the endings are exactly the same every time, obviously. You just... Ed gets taken away from you. Chickens seem to have completely disappeared at this point. Alright, so that's a bonus level. Well, we now have unlocked a bonus level. So I don't have any interest in doing a bonus level, but let's see what this is. Slice and fall. Yeah, sorry we're going long here. Yeah, chickens as a concept have just disappeared. And we don't know what they really counted for anyway, so I don't, it's kind of silly. I feel like the loading screens, if there really aren't too many loading screens here, but some of the loading screens should probably have an advertisement for the cans that we're knocking over. This looks bad, but you know what? I think it doesn't even really matter. I think you just jump down here and you checkpoint. And I think that's pretty much all you care about, unless you wanted to get more cans. Yeah. Definitely feels like there should be more collectibles for as many little secret areas we are running into. And then they introduce a floor of spikes. Interesting. Also have several doors here that I guess are not actually doors of interest. You're just not in a good position here. Like, that is a long jump from that checkpoint to then get to here, to then get here, to then get down here, and then make that, and let's see, this is all just going to be a can you run challenge. Just run in favor of speeding up the whole process. Yeah, there's no boss fight here. That way, I really should just quit now. I'm in all fairness, this game is one of these games that's not good for me mentally, health-wise, and it is making me want to just keep on trying and keep on trying. But that doesn't fix the problem of just how frustrating this is at the other times. Like, I generally am not a huge quitter. I am definitely a quitter though, and that is the right way to play games since video games don't really matter if you're not having fun with them. I would say I am not having fun with this game for at least 40% of the time, and that is 40% too high. If I really thought about it, that number might be particularly higher too, because there are times when it's fine, sure, but yeah, that's just another example. In fact, that's the great example for us to end on. Like, I got to the area where it would have gotten me to the next section, and it was just, no, you can't make that jump because you don't have legs. And if you look at this section, the odds of you having legs at that elevator portion are pretty low. So yeah, like I said, soft rage quit. I have no idea where the final boss is. I can't click on any of these, or the next boss is. He might be, I mean, we could almost assume it's not this bonus section. This image shows a big mechanical monster, but then these images also show big mechanical monsters, and they're not boss fights. Maybe this is a boss fight, maybe not. This is probably it. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the second boss and there's like only 2 bosses in the entire game. 23 and 5. That doesn't seem quite right, but yeah. Let's see. I just don't see anything here. So now we have no blood, no viewers, and we have skyscraper terror. And if we get 50 more, now I understand how these challenges work. So let's just look quickly and see how this works. Like, again, this is all about making something that YouTubers could play infinitely to appease an audience. And see, part of the problem with younger fans or less mature fans is that they are just kind of constantly wanting the same thing, or they think they want the same thing. And when you look at like TV or movies or anything else like that, well, whoever is in charge, the producers, the curators of that content, maybe also don't know what they're talking about. It is fairly obvious the audience doesn't know what it wants either. It seems to me like these randomly generated things don't reset per run. So you could continue to work through this, or you could also potentially just reset over and over again and try and spawn a new area. Yeah, let's see how this would work. If we go back here and start here, will it be the exact same or will it be different? Yeah, it's different. But yeah. This is kind of the problem with Minecraft on YouTube in a nutshell, is that there's just always enough people, enough loud vocal people who want to see very popular content creators play Minecraft or Roblox, or maybe Raft or Subnautica are good examples too. And for years now, the top viewed videos, because the algorithm promotes them, because the YouTube algorithm is stupid, to say the least, the top 10 gaming videos on a daily basis tend to include the same old people playing these same old games. And none of those content creators are happy about being 5-10 years into playing Minecraft. Some of them are. Some of them still love Minecraft, but it definitely has become more of a job for them and less of a fun experience. And there's, even with Minecraft's continuous updates, there's not been enough new content to justify that. Meanwhile, plenty of AAA games, plenty of... I'm losing viewers. Interesting. So when you reset, you lose viewers. And do you just gain viewers per step you take? Or do you just gain viewers by standing in one place? I think it's per step you take. So there's no cheat here where you could get down to the ground and just walk forward. But there might be a cheat here. What if we did this? This. No. It doesn't seem like you can do something like that. And that floor is particularly hard. So yeah. This kind of challenge mode, it's nice, but I would much have preferred them to actually fix something. And here's a whole new area with whole new different things. So this is a nice example of where the game must have been planning on going. And boy, am I glad that I didn't make it this far. In fact, I don't even see a way that you make it here. Like the platform I'm on, yeah, this is just bugged. You literally would have to blind jump, and it's not like you hold A and jump higher. So I'm gonna run forward, I'm gonna hit A, and then I'm gonna hit A again. No, you can't make this jump. The whole thing is just bugged. It's just not possible. And sure, maybe you can throw your head. What is that gonna get you? You would roll off the edge immediately. And maybe there's some mouse and keyboard controls that would improve this. Maybe people who are playing with mouse and keyboard can play this game a lot better. I'm not willing to even try that because I have a little bit of arthritis in my fingers, and banging my fingers against the keyboard is not something I'm interested in doing, particularly in a frustration game like this. Oh look, I made it to 3 platforms that time by just getting extremely lucky. So I don't know, maybe you have to just be really late on your jump. Your foot has to be basically in the air after no, I think it really is just luck. I think sometimes this is spawning these platforms in a place where you can land, and sometimes it is spawning them in places you can't. Let's talk one more thing before we wrap up and rage quit here. Why does this exist? Why did somebody program this animation or buy this animation for him and yet not smooth out the controls or improve the gameplay in any way? Like, it doesn't make sense. Why are there so many of these animations that can be done? Like, why add all this? This would be great stuff if you had a tight, perfect game people already loved. This is the kind of stuff you might add as a fan update or a fan patch after a million units had been sold or 100,000 units have been sold. I wouldn't be surprised if they never even did sell 100,000 units. But first things first, get the game to work. Get the game playable. Get it to a point where real people who actually buy video games and actually play them for legitimate reasons, not just to act all frustrated on a YouTube stream, have the game work for those people first. Here we can look at the credits, and it's a game by 3 people. I'm surprised it's even 3 people, with a couple of other people also a couple other people being used for sound effects and music. Here we have Prelude in C, BWV 846 by Kevin MacLeod. So he did try to use a Kevin MacLeod song, and that probably was the Moonlight Sonata sounding song, but that was a bad choice because the YouTube algorithm overlays and fuzzies other performances of Moonlight Sonata, and it gets content ID'd. I'm sure this video will get content ID'd. You can see this was done with the Unreal Engine, so yeah, a lot of this was just probably pre-bought Unreal assets, but again, I wouldn't really call it an asset flip. And Bin Apocalypse, we just can't even do. Yeah. We also never ran into these guys. These are the cameramen, but they play no role. And I assume that the main bad guy is the final boss. But yeah. Sorry. I'm just not a fan of frustration games. Again, whenever gifted a game, I want to say thank you for gifting a game. I have covered this game to the level I wanted to cover it. I've played it. There was a possibility, certainly, when starting this game that I'd find it amazing and love it and want to play it all the way through. But there was also a very heavy possibility that we'd end up in a rage quit, and that's where we really are. We're in a very soft rage quit where I'm feeling a blister starting to form under my left thumb by pressing the left stick so much. I have no desire to play the bonus levels. I have no desire to do the main levels. The levels seem like they're going to just increasingly get more difficult and long, and almost certainly I would never be able to actually make it all the way to the end. And certainly I wouldn't be having fun making it all the way to the end. I wasn't really even having fun for half of this game, because when you get into one of those sections and you have to reset over and over and over again, and the game has no system, no ghosting system to show you this is the path you should run, no helping system where they reduce the number of blades or it give you invincibility frames or in any way slow down the game or help you. Yeah, if there was a time slowdown mechanic, this game would be a lot easier. If there was a time rewind mechanic or a checkpoint system that was much more frequent, this game would be a lot easier. And with easiness of playability, it becomes more accessible to a larger audience and thus more desirable to play to that larger audience and more enjoyable to play to that larger audience. That's not what these frustration games tend to be, though. They tend to be completely inaccessible, completely rude and aggressive, and it even more than like Bloodborne and Dark Souls and Demon Souls. Those games have systems, and if you can figure out the systems, you can actually play them, even though they are often incredibly hard. They're not unfair, and they don't feel unfair when you understand those systems. This game doesn't really feel like it has a polished system. It does feel like it is just unfair in many scenarios. It does feel like it just does not care about the enjoyment or mental well-being of the players, and I'm not trying to be extremely like pandering or I don't even know what the right phrase is. I'm not trying to hold the hand of players. I'm fine with games being hard if they're fair. This just doesn't feel fair, and I don't think it is. And I think that's the one thing to impress upon anybody who wants to make a game like this, is if you are going to make something like this, it needs to be super fair and super repeatable and super playable. Even things like Super Meat Boy, even though that was another game I rage quit because it was too hard, it was fair. Every time you reset the game, every single element reset at a starting position, and someone who speedruns something like Super Meat Boy can do the exact same actions over and over again and get the exact same results. In Ben and Ed, you can't, and that's probably why you don't see too many speedrunners play Ben and Ed, because it's not predictable. Yeah, well, I'm probably going to just talk in circles if I go any further. Again, thank you to the fan who gifted me this game. In general, I'm going to say there's not going to be any guarantee going forward if someone gives me a game that I'll play it particularly fast. I used to try to make that claim, and I was never really able to keep up with that. As soon as someone gifted me Fallout 4, that really fell out the window, because committing 60 to 200 hours of playing Fallout 4 just outside of what was already scheduled for me to record was unreasonable. But I definitely appreciate being gifted games, even if they are just going to be spotlights like this. Or this isn't actually a spotlight, this is just a 2-episode series in which I rage quit. But yeah, I may very well only spend 30 minutes spotlighting a game if it's gifted to me. That doesn't mean I don't appreciate that it was gifted to me. That doesn't mean I'm ungrateful. I'm just trying to be realistic. In the same way that if you were gifted, say, a Barbie horse training video game for the DS in the year 2020, you would be appreciative to whatever 80-year-old grandma gifted you that game, and then not let on that nobody in their right mind is going to be playing a Barbie horse training game for the Nintendo DS in 2020 for many, many different reasons. And I don't know if that's a fair comparison or not. You always should be grateful for gifts, and I try to always be grateful for gifts, regardless, in the spirit that they were given, regardless of how realistic it is that you would actually play this. And I still want to be true to myself and only really play games to the point where I'd actually play them. So if somebody were to gift me something like a Madden game, that's a better example. I don't play Madden games. I don't play sports games. I probably would only spotlight it for 30 minutes. And that's why I don't put Madden games on my wish list. Because there's not a lot there that I could probably say or sound even slightly intelligent if I tried to criticize them. Well, this has gone extremely long. That's going to be it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam, gift me a game off my wish list, or gift me a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.